Hey everyone, my name is Greg Lester and this is Game Audio Analysis, and today I want to talk about a question that I encounter often in discussions about sound design, which is, should you go to university to become a sound designer? And the answer to that is, it depends on your personal circumstances. Not the simple answer you might have hoped for, but don't worry, in this video I'm going to give you a framework that will help you make the right decision for you. I'll list some of the pros and cons of going to university and talk a little bit about my own experiences and share some knowledge from an interview with the wonderful Adele Cutting, founder of Soundcuts and former senior audio director at EA. But first, let's answer the most simple question of, do you need a degree to get a job as a sound designer? And the answer to that is no. However, having a degree will improve your chances in certain situations, such as if your application is being read by an HR department who might assess your applications based on specific criteria. So why exactly is a degree important for an employer, and why is it useful to have? Well, I'll let Adele Cutting answer this one.
Having a degree shows that you're really committed. You've already taken that first step. During the degree course, you'll have learnt the practicalities of using DAWs, understanding middleware. Some courses might even teach you a little bit about the business and understanding sort of like the project management side of things. So it does make me know that you know the fundamentals. But having said that, I do know people who've made it into the industry who haven't done university degree courses. But I think in today's market, it would be very difficult to get your CV to stand out from the crowd. You'll have to have done a lot of game jams, have done loads of stuff off your own back, really been involved in the indie scene, and be able to show that on a CV to get up there with the people who have done the courses. A lot of the big companies run intern and grad schemes anyway, so they harvest a lot of their juniors through their own intern programs, so which is obviously linked to degree courses.
And there you have it, a wonderful summary from Adele, and thank you again so much to her for making herself available and sharing the knowledge. But now let's jump right into the actual framework, because there are a lot more factors to take into consideration when you're making your choice, with the first one being location. This applies to both where you are currently living as well as the university you plan to apply to. The reason why this is really important is because companies tend to cluster in places where talent is abundant. Similar to the tech bubble we see in Silicon Valley, the game and film industries have also formed hubs where lots of companies work side by side. As I mentioned in a previous video of mine, building a network of friends who are in the industry is super important. By living in or close to one of these hubs, you will be able to attend events in the area, make friends, find mentors, and show your face to potential future employers, which greatly increases the chances of being hired. If you currently live far away from any industry hubs, then moving to study at a university in or near one can be a good way to access these opportunities. If you already live near or in an industry hub, then you might be better off staying in the area and looking for relevant courses at universities closer to home. If you live in the UK, there is a really good website called Gamesmap where you can search for registered games companies in your area. Link is in the description below. Depending on the country, the cost of university tuition and housing can vary drastically, so it's important that you look at your current finances and determine how much it will cost to go to university and how you're going to pay for it. Are you able to take out a student loan, and are there any potential negative effects of doing so? Can you find a part-time or a full-time job to help you pay for your living costs? And can you save money on things like accommodation by living at home instead of in halls or rented accommodation? Part-time jobs can be a great experience even if they aren't relevant to your field, because you'll learn important soft skills. But the downside, of course, is that they can take up a lot of your time that could otherwise be spent developing your technical and industry-specific skills, as well as helping to pay for tuition. Money that you save by living at home or earn from a job can also be reinvested into purchasing some basic recording equipment, which will help you a lot in the long run. The next question you have to ask yourself is, how good is your fundamental knowledge of audio? This includes things like basic microphone theory, mixing abilities, understanding the basic processing types like EQ, delay, compression, reverb, etc. A good understanding of synthesis and fluency in the technical terminology, and so on. So make sure to check and compare the curriculum of different universities and courses to determine which one best fills the gap in your knowledge. It can often be hard to find undergraduate courses that teach sound design for interactive and linear media specifically, since it's a specialization that is generally reserved for a postgraduate degree. However, if you're lacking in the fundamentals, it might be worth doing an audio engineering or music technology degree and then specializing in sound design through either optional models within your course or negotiating with your professors to customize your assessments and make them relevant to your field, such as writing your dissertation on a sound design related topic. I was able to do exactly that, and my tutors allowed me to submit specialized work for my assessments, including a game audio redesign, a sound library, and a musical platformer game, as well as a dissertation on UI sound design in my final year. Doing a degree is a big time investment. Not only are you committing 3 to 5 years of your life to study, but due to the costs associated, you might also find yourself working a part-time job to keep you afloat. Therefore, it's important to consider how much time are you going to be able to spend honing your craft at university. If you have to work a job or multiple jobs to pay for your studies, then it's worth asking if learning from home and using that time instead to improve your skills might be a better option for you. University courses are a specific type of structured learning which can work well for some but not for others. Courses are usually taught through a combination of lectures and practical sessions, but the pace of the course will be fixed and you could find yourself struggling with a huge workload or feel underwhelmed by the lack of challenge depending on the course. Think about what type of learner you are and whether you would benefit from a structured course with clear learning targets and exams, or whether you would prefer to manage your learning independently and can be disciplined enough to set and achieve goals for yourself. As well as being a place to learn, university can be a rich experience where you meet like-minded people in the same age group, make some lifelong friends, and learn from your peers. It's hard to put value on those kinds of experiences as everyone's will be different, but for some it can be immensely valuable, so you have to think about whether the uni experience is important to you. Additionally, university learning will prepare you for working under pressure, sticking to tight deadlines, and receiving constructive criticism and developing your work accordingly. These are all incredibly valuable skills that you will need in both the games and film industries. The last question is, what kind of resources do you have at your disposal? By this, I mean everything from gear and hardware to software, as well as personal mentorship. Universities tend to have a large variety of mics and big mixing suites with surround sound setups available for students to book and use. This is a great opportunity to try out and learn new things like mixing in surround and trying different mic setup hands-on. University tutors can also be valuable resources of information and advice for technical questions or general industry matters. Speaking of resources, I've linked a spreadsheet in the description where I have compiled a list of over 70 game audio learning resources which cover pretty much every aspect of game audio development. I've also listed some of the pros and cons of getting a degree versus learning by yourself on the screen now, so pause if you need some time to look at that. So with all that said, I'll share a little bit about my own experiences. I personally went to uni to study audio engineering, so my course focused on music production and recording techniques. This gave me an important foundation of knowledge. Unfortunately, I only had one short module on game audio, so I had to teach myself about the topic matter. I did this by compromising with my lecturers to change my assignments so they would be more relevant to my learning goals. But during uni I didn't have a lot of free time because I was working 2 part-time jobs for the majority of my studies, but I learned some valuable skills and it only fed my desire to become a game audio pro. I was lucky enough that the town I studied in was a game development hub, so I attended all the networking events I could find and slowly made friends in the industry. To sum up, my degree wasn't a huge contributing factor in getting my first job, but the time I spent during my studies was valuable for me personally, and I would do it again if I had to choose. As always, thanks a lot for making it this far, and I hope that some of the information is useful to you. Thank you so much, and see you next episode.